Greetings and salutations. I've been seeing a lot of crap going on in the community, as always. It's nothing new. Um, and it's late. I'm just laying here. And just crap after crap after crap rolling through everywhere on social media. So, I want to talk a minute, just a quick minute. It's going to be a quick video. I want to talk about initiations pertaining to the ATR traditions. So I've been seeing a lot of people that thinks that they're working with certain spirits from these traditions, or thinks that they don't need to be initiated to work with these types of energies, and they think it's a scam, or they think it's just all about money or this and that. And I will granted, there are scammers out there. There are scammer priests. There are bad houses. There are all that stuff. But, and most of the people that are saying these things are of African descent. So they say things like, it's in my blood, it's in my ancestry, I don't have to pay somebody, $10,000 to initiate to something, to work with my ancestry, spirits and this and that. Let me tell y'all something. And for one thing, let's get one thing straight. Quit mishmashing all the ATRs together. Ifa is not Santeria. Palo is not voodoo. These are all their own distinct religions. Okay? Not traditions, religions. Okay? And they all have their own distinct ways of where they came from, how they practice, the spirits that they work with, their initiations, all that. There are no Orisha in Ifa. They're not. There's no Loa in Santeria. There's no none of this. Okay, so these people are just going on eBay, buying some Malekes and saying, I don't need no initiation because it's in my blood, or they feel, and even if they're not of African descent, even other people just feel entitled. It's entitlement. Everybody feels entitled to everything, especially in this country. And you don't see that going on in other countries. You only see it in America. You don't see it going on in Cuba. You don't see it going on in Mexico. You don't see it going on in Africa. You don't see it going on in Philippines. It just goes on in America. You don't see it going on in Haiti. It just goes on in America. People think that, they have a right to everything when they ain't earned it, number one. Number two, pertaining to those of African descent. Yes, these are African traditions. But just because you're from African descent doesn't mean you're entitled, connected, or anything else with these traditions. I think you forget, back in Africa, and see, these religions are all different because they come from different areas. Different areas have different tribes, right? A lot of these tribes warred. A lot of these tribes didn't like each other. So mishmashing the stuff, or just claiming to have a right to a tradition. What part of Africa did that tradition come from? What part of Africa did your ancestors come from? Number one. Number two, in tribes in Africa, in Mexico, in America, anywhere that there has been native peoples and tribes, there are always rites of passage, rites of, I want to say puberty, but that's not really the word. Rites of passing to become an adult, to be seen by the tribe as an adult, and all that. And there are initiations. Oh, there are initiations. This could be a really long video, guys. Sorry, my head's just going all over the place. So, let me ask everybody that thinks they are entitled to everything in this country. What makes you better than your ancestors? And now I'm pertaining to the African Americans, people of African descent that live in America. What makes you better than your ancestors? You say you have a right to it because it's your ancestral heritage or whatever, and might not even know, what part of Africa your ancestry comes from, what tribe you would have belonged to, any of that. What makes you better than your ancestors? Your ancestors that you claim these traditions belong to. That they created the religion as an initiatory system. Come down from the spirits of each tradition, because all initiations into all different traditions are different. Your ancestors had to initiate. If your ancestors created the traditions, then they created it as an initiatory religion. So why do you think you're better? Why do you think you're entitled? That your ancestors set it down that way, that you had to initiate. But you don't think you have to. You're just entitled to it. I had another thought and my brain went somewhere else and now I freaking lost it, and it was important too. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. This one's gonna get a lot of thumbs down, but right now I ain't giving a fuck. The hell was I gonna say? Shit, hold on. I still can't really remember what I was gonna say, but okay, that's what I was gonna say. There it is. So there's a big difference, and I think I've spoken about this on another video. There's a big difference between dead religions and traditions and ones that are alive. There's a big difference. So a dead tradition would be something like the Roman Greek pantheon of gods and goddesses. A dead tradition would be some considered Druidic, a dead tradition. The Celtics, a lot of that is considered a dead tradition. And the reason they're called dead traditions is because that there are no living priests of those traditions. And the traditions and religions were never, there was no system set in place for them to be passed on. And there are no living priests, priestesses, and initiates of those religions and traditions, so they're considered dead traditions. So people, they go find these gods and goddesses and they play around with it and they do what they want with it, and whatever, and that's cool because it's dead. It's a dead tradition. Nobody knows really the ins and outs of it, the intricacies of it, all that stuff. So that's fine with stuff like that. But when you come to African traditions, these are live, living, breathing traditions and religions that have been kept alive through all these generations, all these thousands of years. The lineage has been passed on. The initiations have been kept sacred. The secrets have been kept sacred. And there are living priests and priestesses and initiates and devotees and all that alive, breathing and alive. It is a breathing, living tradition. So when you come to something like that and you start appropriating it, and yes, I'm going to say appropriating, because if you're not initiated to it, you feel entitled to it for one reason or another, you are appropriating it because these traditions are alive. There are plenty of wonderful priests and priestesses and initiates and devotees in all these African traditions, and they far outweigh the bad ones by a long shot. Another thing I'm going to say on this one, and I have said it on many of my live videos, 90 and anyone who's initiated in any tradition will tell you this. 99.9% of everything you see online, read in a book, I don't care who wrote the damn book, about African traditions is false. It is false crap put out there to quell the hunger of the masses who are not initiated. There are secrets and mysteries kept within the priesthoods and the lineages of these traditions that are sacred, and they're not put on fucking line. And real priests and priestesses and real initiates can spot a freaking fake, Hotep, Brotep, Motep, whatever from a mile away, and know that they learned everything they learned from, Papa Google and Mama, let me pick up this fucking book. And y'all buying your beads off freaking eBay and wearing them around, you're hotepping. 100% hotepping. And you just don't know. And one of the main reasons there is initiation is so this stuff is kept alive, right? So it's passed on correctly through the lineage of the various, religions. They all have different lineages and like all that. And each lineage works it a little bit different. But it's to keep it alive and keep it correct and keep it sacred, so everyone outside of it ain't got the real deal, man. Y'all ain't got the real deal. Fucking Papa Google ain't teaching shit. But, some of the things you receive when you initiate into a tradition is something called licencia. It's a license to work with certain energies and spirits, and without that license, they don't know you. They don't recognize you. They don't know who you are, and you can't control them. And let alone will they freaking answer you. I don't care what color your skin is. And you have to, kind of have that licencia to be able to even handle the real types of forces and energies that are in these traditions. My godfather told me something that always stuck with me. We were sitting down having a conversation, and he told me, if 99% of these people out here on this social media shit, like, were actually working with the forces and the spirits they claim to be working with, he said, shit, if one of them spirits that they claim to be working with actually showed up, and knocked on their door, that they'd shit their pants. And, at the time I thought he was speaking figuratively. But he ain't lying. He ain't lying. Everyone out here that thinks they're being contacted by, Loa or Risha or this or that or whatever, I guarantee you it ain't it. I guarantee you it ain't it. Because you wouldn't be able to handle it, because without initiation, your body, your blood has not been attuned to be able to handle that situation. Let me put it in a view that everybody can understand. Everybody seen the movie Dogma? The movie Dogma with Chris Rock and a whole bunch of other actors in it. There's a scene in that movie where God comes down from heaven, and God's played by Alanis Morissette, which I thought was really cool. But God comes down from heaven, and God doesn't speak. God is totally silent and communicates with, gestures and eye movements and stuff. And there's a point in the movie where God opens her mouth to speak. And it comes out as this insane sound. And what happened is everyone who wasn't in tune and wasn't divine with God, so everyone that was with God that wasn't an angel, in other words, all the humans that heard God's voice, their heads exploded. Okay, everybody remember that scene. That scene is akin to working with these types of energies and forces. Without initiation, your blood and body and spirit has not been attuned with those forces. And if they actually really showed up, if the real deal showed up, your body would go through some crazy shit. I'm not saying your head would fucking explode on spot, but you could definitely faint. You could lose control of your bodily functions. All kinds of stuff. And these are the things that licentia and initiation give you. Okay, to be able to handle these types of energies without losing complete control of your body and, dying or something. So people need to really understand that. I have no doubt that you're really communicating with spirit. Okay, but I guarantee you it's a spirit in your court. Now, a spirit in your court could have the archetype, of some of these other spirits and appear to you in the guise of one of these higher level entities. That is totally possible. And they could, maybe that's the best way to communicate with you to make you understand. I guarantee you they're either somebody in your court, or it's one of your ancestors, or it's just some random fucking spirit that followed you home that, hey, they want some rum and cigars too, because who doesn't like offerings, right? I guarantee you, it's not who you think it is. I guarantee it. And I know a lot of this is going to make people angry. It's going to fall on deaf ears because I was at that place once. So I completely understand. I was at that place, and I knew, I believed, that I totally 100% knew that I was working with this spirit or that spirit that were in initiatory traditions. And once I was initiated and actually, felt and had contact with those types of energies, I was wrong, honey. I was way, 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 way wrong. And you cannot understand it. You cannot understand it until you're on the other side of the fence. So then the other argument is it costs so much money. It costs so much money. Well, there's another reason for that too, because everything is a sacrifice, isn't it? You have to give a sacrifice to receive anything when it comes to spirit and life. Isn't that correct? So not only is the money a sacrifice and a commitment on the part of the person who wants to go for initiation. Everybody thinks these priests are lining their pockets, charging all this money and all this and that. Ceremonies and initiations are big ordeals. Big fucking ordeals. There's a lot of food, a lot of animals, a lot of alcohol, a lot of flowers, a lot of cigars, a lot of everything. A lot of people in the community that are given their time to do this for you. You don't think those people deserve to be compensated a little? And I don't know how it works in, in other houses and other traditions or anything like that, but in mine, the priests in my tradition, in my house, don't freaking get a lot of money after that, ceremony's over. Like 85% of that money is going to the food, the animals, the liquor, the cigars, the flowers, the everything, the ingredients, the herbs, the plants, the everything that goes in to doing that ceremony for you costs a lot of freaking money. And then also, everyone that takes part, that has given their time to take part in your initiation, has to be compensated as well. They all have to get a little something for their time, for their sacrifice, for you. Yes, some houses charge exorbitant, ridiculous amounts. And if you find a house that charges exorbitant, ridiculous amounts, go find another one. Because I promise you, they're not all ridiculous and exorbitant amounts. Again, I promise you. My other point to this video, and I'm about to end it, is if your ancestors and your court want you to be initiated, and that's in your destiny, if that's in your path, they will make it happen. They will bring you to the right house, to the right teacher, and they will bring you the money to get it done, if it's meant for you. Some people gotta work a little bit for you. You know, they ain't gonna hand everything over. But they'll make sure it fucking happens. I guarantee it. I promise you. So no more excuses. No more entitlement. If you want something, be it. Do it. One more little thing to add. Sorry, guys. Spirit talking tonight, boy. So a lot of people, you know, in America, like I said, this doesn't go on in other countries. You never see it. But in America, we have the people of African descent. And they think just because, you know, they are of African descent, that these spirits recognize them without initiation, without proper ceremony, without the proper lineage and licentia. Just because of the way they look. These spirits know them and recognize them. Let me tell you something, y'all. I can walk out my door and I see 50 people that look like me. That doesn't mean I know them. Doesn't mean I recognize them. Doesn't mean I know who they are or I'm going to talk to them. Just because they look like me, I don't recognize those people. It's the same thing with spirits. Same deal. And regardless the popular, you know, opinion or belief, not every person in Africa practiced these types of African religions. There was a priesthood. There's initiations. It wasn't all Africans practice these traditions. I mean, the mentality in this is so flawed, and I'm just trying to shine a light on it. Just because your ancestors came from Africa, the continent of Africa, does not mean that they practiced these traditions. It does not mean that they were priests of lineages that are in these traditions. The lineages are far and few between. There aren't that many. So that was just another little myth I wanted to bust out there. One more little thing I wanted to add to this is, you know, these entitled people that are buying their beads on eBay and Hotep and all around, feeling entitled to everything without paying the blood, literally sweat and tears. Y'all don't understand that these are religions. Okay? Just like any other religion, every single religion on this planet has some type of initiation. Whether it's baptism and Catholic and Christianity or the Baptists or whatever. Okay, so you got to go through a baptism. You got to go through a ceremony. You got to go through an initiation. There's initiations in Judaism. There's initiations, I don't know much about Islam, but I'm pretty damn sure there's something into that. Every religion on this planet has some kind of initiation in order for you to join it, to be a part of it, and to learn about it. Really learn the truth about it and not what's on Papa Google. So, everyone out here with these fake beads, and I'm going to say they're fake because if it ain't fed, it's dead. If it's not received through ceremony, it ain't shit. It's fake. You can buy 20 of them off eBay and wear them all you want and hotep around it. It's fake. All y'all ain't no better than these fucking evangelists on the damn TV. That's what you are. You're an evangelist, leading so many people astray from the real path and the real deal. So next time y'all see these people, just remember, they're evangelists. They're people slapping people with their fucking coats with the fucking power, the power of God knocking them over. They're the ones laying hands when everybody passes out. They're fucking evangelists. And no better than them. And that's all I got to say. Like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to visit my shop, primitiverootsconjure.com. Like me on Facebook at Primitive Roots Appalachian Conjure, and follow me on Instagram at primitive_roots_conjure. Good night, y'all.